Hey there, and welcome to Temporary Locals.
I'm Jared.
And I'm Megan. This week, we're taking you to haunted Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah, Georgia. Yeah, this episode is going to be on the creepier, scarier side of Savannah, Georgia, which is essentially just Savannah, Georgia. But we may end up doing another episode down the road on just overall travel to Savannah because we've spent a lot of time there. And but yeah, this week's episode is part of our Halloween special. It is our Halloween special, part 3, Savannah, Georgia. So let's get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we do that, just for anybody who is just joining us, to tell you a little bit about our podcast. This is Temporary Locals. Jared and I are a travel-loving couple. We somehow just kind of always end up feeling like locals wherever we go. It's kind of an inside joke. So from like small towns to some of the world's most iconic wonders like Machu Picchu, we share our stories, hidden gems, and occasional history or true crime that shaped the places that we've actually been. So if you're into travel, storytelling, and a little bit of mystery, then you are in the right place, and we would love it if you would subscribe and join us for the ride. And as always, we appreciate any other methods of free support, such as sharing the episode, liking, commenting, leaving a review, and also, drum roll please, we are now available on Apple Podcasts.
Yay.
I finally figured that out.
Yeah. Well, people are very particular about their streaming services.
Yeah, and we did have people ask, when we first kind of launched of, like, we're on Spotify and on YouTube. No, actually, it was Spotify first, and then people were like, oh, are you on YouTube? And then they were like, well, you don't even have to record video yet, because I was like, that's too much for me right now. I don't know how to do that. And they were like, just throw your logo up and put it on YouTube. So that's what we did. And then we also had people saying, are you on Apple? And I was like, that's too much right now.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because I also listen to podcasts on YouTube, but I just listen to them. So there's really no point in it being on YouTube. Like, we do have on our YouTube channel clips and pictures to go along with the podcasts. But
yeah, sometimes.
But most people that we talk to are like, yeah, we just listen to the YouTube episode in our car while we're driving, so they don't even watch the video anyway. But we say that to say we are on Apple now.
Yeah. So shout out to that. It only took us 17 episodes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't in a huge rush to get on. I think our bread and butter, or at least for me anyway, is Spotify. YouTube's nice and Apple's cool, but I like Spotify.
Yeah.
Spotify's my jam.
Your jam. Yeah. I'm a YouTube girly myself, so.
Yeah.
We see you all out there, and we're trying to, appease to all of our fans.
That's right.
Appease? I don't think that was the right word, but that's okay.
Please.
Please appeal to.
Please all our fans.
Anyway, so yeah, like Jared said, this is a Halloween special episode, and typically we don't have sources for our episodes because it's mainly
speaking of pleasing our listeners.
Our episodes are mainly us telling you about our experiences, or if we have guests on, firsthand experiences. So we typically don't have sources, but because we're doing this special episode, we wanted to just make sure that we had the history that we learned while we were on a ghost tour just locked in, that we weren't remembering things incorrectly. So we do have a couple sources: SavannahFirstTimer.com, BonaventureHistorical.org, Savannah.com, and Wikipedia.
Yeah, and also our tour guide Kat, which we won't say her full name, but she was a tour guide, at least in Savannah. Do you remember the ghost tour company?
I don't.
But she was great. She was super knowledgeable. We learned a lot of cool stuff from her, and
she also had the best accent.
She did. She had a very...
She's like, I'm from Savannah, Georgia. And she's like, I know this sounds fake, but this is really how I talk.
Yeah. Yeah. She sounded like Blanche from The Golden Girls. Most of our young listeners are like, who are you talking about? But yeah.
I think most people know who the Golden Girls are. At least who they are. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Watch the show. I didn't.
I don't even think Blanche was from Georgia, was she? Wasn't she from Arkansas or Texas or something?
I never watched the show, so I don't know.
Well, it's because you're young, again. But yeah, I think that it's important to point out, like I kind of touched on earlier, we will do another episode on Savannah because you and I have spent a lot of time there. When I was traveling a lot on the road, and you would come with me, and we spent a lot of time on the road. One of the places that we always seem to go through and end up in was Savannah. There's many places in the country, but in the Southeast specifically, that we spent a lot of time in, and Savannah is definitely one of those places. So it's a place that's really special to us. We've spent countless days there and have done so much there that I think Savannah should get its own episode. But due to the fact that it is arguably the most haunted city in the country, I thought it would be perfect to kind of go over that for one of our Halloween special episodes.
Yeah, a little peek behind the scenes into our brains of our planning, because we do plan for this podcast.
Sometimes, yep.
Yeah, we love Savannah. All the times that we've spent there. It's just, there's so much history there. It's just gorgeous. I mean, the Spanish moss hanging down, all the trees, the way, we'll get into it, but the way that the, downtown Savannah itself is set up, it's such a gorgeous, like, southern town.
Yeah, I think it's like, I say Savannah is like Charleston on steroids. I think Savannah, like a lot of people think of Charleston, they think of the cobblestone, they think of the historic areas, they think of the Spanish moss also. I think Savannah is like that, but more. It's like a more Charleston-y Charleston, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
What you're saying.
Because there's a lot of that in Charleston, but Savannah is like, a lot of the city is that, as opposed to just like certain historic areas. Yeah, a big portion of Savannah is like that. So it's like stepping back in time for a lot of the city when you're kind of rambling around. There's a lot of cobblestone, a lot of crazy staircases. It's not set up for drunk people, which is what you see down on River Street any night of the week. You see a lot of people drinking, and I just always think to myself, like, man, if I was still a drinking man, I would be tripping and falling all the time down there.
Yeah, we have seen people trip and fall.
We've seen that, yeah.
Yeah.
You see women with like high heels on coming out of the bar trying to walk down cobblestone.
Yeah, extremely uneven streets.
Yeah, it's dangerous walking at night even if you're not drunk.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's so weird, like the dichotomy between like old and new of like the cobblestone streets, but then there's like neon signs.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of in the same way. I guess New Orleans kind of is that same kind of vibe. But yeah, maybe that's where all the hauntings come from. It's from drunk girls in high heels tripping and falling and dying.
Breaking their neck on the cobblestone.
Yeah. Yeah, when you actually look up most haunted city in the U.S., two cities come up, and it's kind of a debate between the two. One is New Orleans, which we've also done a episode on. Just general travel to New Orleans. And Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
So Savannah is regarded as possibly the most haunted city in the U.S.
Yeah. And I think we can't leave out St. Augustine just because it's the like oldest city.
Yeah, St. Augustine also, and Charleston's very haunted. And there's some cities up north that are very haunted, obviously. But Savannah, and this is one thing that we learned on the tour, is like Savannah is regarded as like the United States' most haunted city.
Yeah. Yep.
States'.
So, Savannah was founded in 1733 by General James Oglethorpe after he had an agreement with Chief, and I hope I say this right, Chief Tomochichi of the Yamakra tribe. So they had this agreement, and the Yamakra tribe were like, yes, you guys can settle in the bluffs above the Savannah River, and it seemed like, they had a pretty good relationship,
Yeah, as opposed to a lot of the colonies down here where they kind of just kicked the natives out. They actually had an agreement. So it was kind of, Savannah was kind of founded in a different way. It wasn't taken by force. It was an agreement, and so I guess it was kind of viewed in that way back then as like a more civilized society.
Like a peaceful, yeah. And And so the chief, Tomochichi, he died in 1739. I just found this, while we were looking up, and found out that he's actually buried in Percival Square, which is one of the squares in Savannah. And then another fun fact, in 1775, Savannah was actually the last of the 13 colonies to support the American Revolution. So they were kind of hanging on, like, I don't know. I mean, Britain's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably had a good thing going. I kept calling the chief, I kept saying Tamagotchi.
I know, yeah. Jared, so for those that don't know, Jared has this hilarious thing. It's one of the things that I love about you when we're like remembering words.
Like names.
Yeah, like names of things or just like words, or like probably the funniest one is when we were moving, and the U-Haul vans that in the top, they call it like the mom's attic. You remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a hilarious one is like
I thought it was called the mom's kitchen or something.
No, it was called the mom's attic, and you were like, "What? Didn't we get that box that was like up there in Daddy's kitchen?"
Yeah.
So it's just when you can't remember a word, you make it funny, like it's wrong and it's hilarious.
I just go with it. But you know how Chief Tamagotchi died?
What?
You know how he died?
What?
They didn't feed him.
Stop. Stop. They didn't clean out his little Tamagotchi cage. Oh my god. This is so disrespectful.
I know. So anyway.
Well, anyways.
Disrespectful is building an entire city on top of native burial grounds, which we'll get into.
Which is what they did. Yeah. So America was actually Savannah was actually America's first quote unquote planned city. And they kind of dubbed that Oglethorpe's plan, named after General James Oglethorpe, who founded the city. And the plan uses distinctive street networking with like repeating squares of residential blocks and commercial blocks, and then small green parks to create an integrated walkable neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that we talked about Savannah is it's just set up so nicely. Like it is even now, just to like, walk around, take a stroll in the square and kind of walk through the neighborhoods. Like it is very connected and it's very well planned.
Yeah. And it's so like aesthetically beautiful. And it's nice because as you're walking around the city, they do have these squares every so often. So it's like you can kind of take a break. If you've been walking for a number of blocks, you can stop and hang out in the square. And some of them have like statues and fountains.
Yeah, benches.
Benches that you can sit on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really pretty and really well set up.
Very scenic. Savannah, like we touched on earlier, is known for its Spanish moss. And a lot of people go to Savannah for that. It's very picturesque. A lot of photographers go there. A lot of people get wedding photos done there. All kinds of like, it's big for photography. It's big for travel for that reason. It's a very beautiful city, but it's also very old, very historic, and has a lot of tragedy involved in it, like a lot of cities down here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's funny because you'll see tourists come down and they're like amazed by the Spanish moss, and you'll see them like touching it, or like I've seen them put it on their face like a beard.
It's like you don't want to be doing that. There's bugs that live in there.
Yeah. So for anybody listening, like, don't touch the Spanish moss. First of all, you shouldn't really be touching stuff on the trees to begin with, but there's mites in there. They call them jiggers. And they'll bury into your skin.
Yeah. And you'll find that out the hard way. I found out when we moved down here, we moved from Canada, and I had, I guess, never experienced a fire ant before in my life. And so we make it down here after 4 straight days of driving, and we get to our hotel. It was like Homewood Suites in Charlotte. And there's like these gigantic pine cones. I'm talking, they're like the size of our head. I had never seen a pine cone that big in my life. And so I'm picking it up and I'm like, oh my gosh, Mom and Dad, look at this pine cone. And then all of a sudden, I just felt like these invisible stings all over me, and I didn't know what was happening. And I look, and then there's like ants on me. I think I blacked out. I don't know. I dropped the pine cone, and I'm like screaming, and my parents are like, "What?" Because there's nothing there to them. It's little ants, and then we get all the ants off of me. And then, yeah, that was the first time I ever had experienced fire ants. So.
Yeah, that reminds me of kind of the similar type of story. The first time I ever went out west, when I landed at the Tucson airport, I got off the plane directly on the tarmac, and I saw a tumbleweed go by.
Mm-hmm.
And, growing up as a kid, you see them in like cartoons and in like desert movies, you see the tumbleweed go by. So somebody that's from the Northeast, I was like excited, like, oh my God, a tumbleweed. Like, I thought that was just in like movies, or whatever, but there's a tumbleweed
They're really
going
out
by.
here.
And so I ran up and I grabbed it, not realizing that tumbleweeds are just briar bushes.
Yeah.
And I ran up to it and I was like, ooh, a tumbleweed. And I grabbed it and I was like, ah!
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's the kind of stuff you learn when you go somewhere new.
Yeah.
That you have to learn the hard way,
Yep. And that's why we're temporary locals.
That's right. Yeah. It's just knowledge and wisdom you pick up on the road.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the cobblestone streets, and the steps. There are stairs like to get like kind of down to the Riverwalk that have signs on them that say like historic steps. Use at your own risk. They literally say use these steps at your own risk because they're so steep, and like I don't know the exact term, but like they're different lengths, like different height of each step is could be a different height, and so they're just really wonky.
They're very treacherous. Yeah. And one thing I really appreciate about Savannah and a lot of historic cities down here is they don't, they could have tore those steps down and put up like a more modern set of stairs that are safer, but they're historic and they've been there for hundreds of years. And so the city decided, hey, we're not getting rid of these stairs. They're there. Use them at your own risk.
Yeah. And they have other ways, like there's other
are
ways to get down to the Riverwalk than using the historic steps. But yeah, I do really appreciate that they leave that there because it's like, man, these people were out here walking up these crazy stairs.
It's funny because I'm actually a part of a group online. One of the groups I'm in is called Death Stairs, and it's just people post pictures of like dangerous staircases from all over the world. And I've actually seen those stairs in Savannah, the historic stairs going down to the River Street. I've seen that on that page a number of times.
Yeah, I think I've seen those posts before too.
So they're famous for being like kind of
treacherous. Yeah. And speaking of the Riverwalk, we'll do another episode, but the Riverwalk in Charleston is pretty cool. You obviously look out over the river. They've got the bridge that you can see. That
you mean Savannah? You said Charleston.
Did I say Charleston?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, it's because I was about to compare the bridge in Savannah to the Ravenel Bridge in Charleston, which I think I misspoke on last episode, but it's fine. Because they're both like the cable wire. Is it a suspension bridge? I think so.
Yeah.
So they're very similar looking bridges. We'll put a picture on our social media or something. But,
yeah.
And that's actually the first time we said I love you.
Yeah. First time I said it to you. I said it first.
That's right. And you were like, I should not have said that. I should not have said that.
Yeah.
Pulled a full Hagrid.
Yeah. I actually didn't mean to say it, remember?
Yeah.
I mean, I did, but
you were making fun of me. And I was like, stop, or something like that. And you were like, it's because I love you. And I was like, oh.
And I was like, what?
And then we like kept walking and for a little bit, and then I like turned to you and I was like, I love you too. And then we had this cute little kiss moment.
And we embraced next to the river with the beautiful lights. Yeah. And as we were hugging, this group of like frat boys walked by and they were just like, oh.
Yeah.
That same kind of thing also kind of happened in Asheville, where we were standing on a street corner in Asheville one night and we were like hugging and like kissing or whatever. And was it
It was a sorority. No, not a sorority. It was a bachelorette party on a
bachelorette
fire
party.
truck.
Yeah, a full-on bachelorette party on a fire truck. So a bunch of drunk girls on a fire truck drive by, and what they yelled at us, they were
No,
like,
we were hugging, and they were like, "Kiss her."
yeah, yeah, they were
So
more.
we did, and then they were like, "Woo!"
Yeah, they were more encouraging.
Oh, good times.
Yeah.
Good times. But anyways, back to Savannah's haunted reputation. We'll get into it, but there's been some historical tragedies that have given Savannah the long-standing reputation, as we've kind of talked about, as America's most haunted city. And so this has fueled a thriving ghost tour industry and urban legends that play into the city's macabre past. So we'll start kind of going into our ghost tour, but before our ghost tour, we actually had some funny events happen leading up to our ghost tour.
Yeah. Well, so we definitely wanted to do this was around Halloween.
Yeah, it was October.
Yeah, it was in October, and so we were in Savannah, and we're like, oh, we're in the most haunted city in the United States. What do you do in the most haunted city in the United States in October? Go on a ghost tour. Perfect, right? And so it was myself, you, Justin, and Rachel. So it was 4 of us, 2 of our friends. And we all booked this ghost tour together, and we went down to downtown Savannah early so we could eat.
Yep.
And that's another thing about Savannah is they got really good food. There's a lot of awesome places to eat in Savannah. We're not going to go necessarily into it, but if you want any recommendations, reach out to myself or Megan, and we will recommend you good food spots in Savannah. But we found a Thai place that we wanted to check out. And I think this Thai place was recommended to us, actually, or we had heard about it. And since, I know myself, I'm a big fan of Thai food. I know you like Thai food.
Absolutely.
So we wanted to check this place out. You don't necessarily think of Thai food when you think of Savannah, but this place was highly recommended.
Yeah.
And had, good reviews. So we decided to go to this Thai spot. And what happened after that?
Well, while we were there, so the food, it was great, but it took forever to come out. And we were like kind of running, like we're all kind of like looking at our watches, and we've been telling the guy like from the get-go, like, hey, we've got a ghost tour that we need to get to. We have to be at the square. That's like, it was like a couple blocks away at this time. So just so you're aware, we're not in a rush, but we do need to be out of here by this time so we can make our tour. And I think he forgot to put our order in.
Yeah, I think that's what the assumption we came to, because we went up at one point to like kind of remind him that we're there. And he was kind of like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then our food came out, but it took a long time. So I think he forgot to put our order in.
I think he did too. And like everybody's food came out and y'all were eating for probably about 10 minutes. Mine still hadn't come out.
Yeah.
And so we all got like some sort of like fried rice. I don't remember exactly what I had because I was only able to eat like 2 bites of it because when it came out, it was piping hot.
Yep. We had to scarf down hot food.
Like so scalding hot.
And also with a lot of Thai dishes, they do spicy level from 0 to 5. And so I like my food spicy, but not super like overwhelmingly spicy. So I got mine at I think a 3, and Justin got his at a 5 because he's like big into spice. And I think they mixed our dishes up because I was dying.
You were like crying.
I was crying.
You were crying over your pineapple fried rice. And Justin's like, this isn't even hot. And then you guys swapped plates. And I'm pretty sure you guys were like, no.
Yeah.
They switched them, dude.
Yeah. So not only did we have to scarf down food that was like hot, but I was scarfing down super spicy Thai food.
Yeah.
And we had to hightail it out of there.
Yeah. Looking back though, man, I wish I would have had him put it in a little to-go thing, and I would have totally eaten that on the ghost tour.
Yeah.
Walking around downtown Savannah with fried rice. Yeah, I was actually really upset about that. I was a little hurt because I was like, man, I'm still hungry. But I did have a Chang beer.
Oh yeah, you did
have the Thai beer. Yeah, and it was really good.
Which is cool because a lot of Thai restaurants in the States here don't even have like Thai beers like that over here.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was cool. I
Yeah, you saw it on the menu and you were like, "Oh, you have to try this," because you had been to Thailand at that point. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. So then we're hightailing it out of there to get to our ghost tour on time, and we're leaving there, and I'm like, "Oh man," because I didn't have time to go to the bathroom before we left, and I'm like, "I'm not gonna make it through this hour or 2 hour, I don't even know how long, ghost tour walking." I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. I looked at you and I was like, Jared, I gotta go to the bathroom. And we found an alley.
Yep.
And I squatted down between some trash cans in an alley and I
Yeah.
let it go.
Yeah, we ran ahead of Justin and Rachel because they were a bit slower than we were. So you and I were kind of like running, and you were like, you said you had to pee, and there was nowhere around. I mean,
Yeah,
so
and it was dark.
Yeah, we took the first like dark alley we could find, and I stood like over you kind of to try to block you from anybody that may walk by the alley so that they couldn't see you. And as I'm standing there trying to block you, I'm like, looking around, and I hear you peeing. And then I look down and I see your puddle of pee coming closer to my foot. And I was like, ugh! And I jumped out of the way. And then Rachel and Justin just go walking by.
They looked back and I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
But Rachel later told me, she's like, man, I really wished I would have done that because she had to pee too, but she
wasn't about to pee in an alley.
No.
She's not as adventurous as you.
She held it through the whole ghost tour.
Yeah. So
And
after that, anyway, we got out of that alley and caught up with them, and we all made it to the ghost tour on time, barely, but on time. I think we were the last ones there, right? Everybody was kind of waiting for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
we weren't late though. We did make it there on time.
Yeah.
But we were like the last people, like you said, that she checked in. So yeah, our tour guide, Kat, that we mentioned earlier. So getting into the tour, she coined Savannah as a quote unquote parfait of death. And we all chuckled at that and thought, that's a good way to put it.
It's a good description.
Yeah, it is. Because of lots of disease that swept through Savannah. Not to mention it was built on Native American burial grounds. Mm-hmm. There were notorious murders and all the slavery that was through that area, bloody battles and fires. So there was lots of contributing factors to mass deaths in this area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it all kind of builds on one another. And so there's different layers from different time periods of dead bodies underneath the entirety of the city of Savannah. And so Savannah was hit by a devastating yellow fever epidemic throughout the 19th century, and the outbreak in 1820 killed nearly 700 people, and another in 1876 killed over 1,000 people, which doesn't sound like a lot of people, but back then
that's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people, yeah. But especially back then, Savannah, I'm assuming, didn't have the population it has today. So even a few hundred people that's a big portion of the population.
Yeah, and it's a lot of death to care for in a funeral home, preservation, burial sort of way. So
right,
having that many people, they had mass burials.
Yeah, they just kind of started throwing people out into fields and squares and stuff.
And there's one now that's called Colonial Park Cemetery. That was a place of just mass graves.
Right.
Yeah.
So the city also suffered from the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, which also killed hundreds of people. So you had just disease ravishing this city, and which led to a lot of death and led to a lot of the bodies that it now sits on top of.
Yeah. And so being built on Native American burial grounds, like we mentioned, Chief Tamachichi and the Yamakra tribe. So I think what happened is the early colonists, they kind of were given this land, but then they just kept expanding. So they're building the city on top of Native American burial grounds. So then, as the city grew, like we mentioned, the mass graves from the yellow fever outbreaks were covered over.
Mm-hmm.
And so they say that like the historic district is literally just built on the dead.
Yeah. And that's why she coined that term, parfait of death, which we are going to steal and call this episode. So
It's
shout out,
just
Kat.
so good. Yeah, thanks, Kat.
Yeah. She said that, and I was like, ooh, it sounds like it should be.
Parfait.
It should be like a metal band or something.
It's just a very good because a parfait is just a layered dessert of different. It's perfect. Yeah. It's really it's very.
It sounds deadly, but also delicious.
Gross.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So murders and slavery were a big part of the early history of Savannah, also. And the city's history includes accounts of notable murders, as well as the dark history of the Atlantic slave trade, in which Savannah played a large role.
Yeah, and historical conflicts like the Siege of Savannah in 1779 during the American Revolution and battles during the Civil War left a bloody legacy and are said to contribute to the city's haunted atmosphere.
Yeah, a lot of death.
Yeah, a lot of war. Like the mass casualties in battle, on top of like disease. It's, yeah.
Yeah, and that wasn't even getting yet to all the stuff that happened with slavery during the next century, just historically, a lot of slaves were also killed and obviously buried also under the city of Savannah.
Yeah. And the catastrophic fires, too. In 1796 and 1820, they destroyed large parts of the city and caused a lot of untimely deaths. I mean, I think a lot of the city was built out of wood. So a large fire destroyed a lot of homes and businesses and stuff.
Yeah.
Very devastating. And they didn't have, the resources that we have now. Fire department. I don't know even if they existed then.
They did, because we learned on the tour that you actually had to pay for the fire department, right? Isn't that what she said?
That sounds right.
And so if you were somebody that was wealthy, the fire department would pretty much immediately show up the way they do now. But if you were somebody that wasn't wealthy, you essentially had to try to save what you could. And maybe, hope that the community would kind of rally around trying to save your home, your neighbors and stuff. But yeah, they did have a fire department, but it was more for the wealthy back then.
Yeah.
So another interesting fact.
Yeah, and something to be grateful for now that,
yeah, it's a service.
Yeah. Another thing that was mentioned on this tour was that the teeth have trees.
Babe. And pause it. As funny as that is, I don't want to put that in there. I'm gonna pee my pants. The funniest part is you were so confident when you said it. The teeth have trees. The teeth have trees.
I'm gonna record over that, but oh no, I never stopped recording.
Alright, play that whole thing.
Oh, what I meant to say was that the trees have teeth in them. The trees have teeth.
Oh jeez. This one's gone off the rails.
Okay, so but that's what our tour guide said, was that because there's so many dead people below that, as the trees grow, somehow human teeth get pulled up into the trees, and you can cut down a branch, or there have been branches cut down or fallen during a storm, and there's just human teeth in the street.
Yeah, city workers have reported finding teeth in branches of trees that have grown up, and I would assume other bones too, but the teeth part is just really fascinating that could even happen. And I think you and I have talked about that with other people, and they are like, they don't believe it.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes sense. If there's that many dead bodies under the ground, and as the trees grow, it's possible, I guess.
I mean, maybe they're not like in the tree, but I could see them being stirred. Like, I could see bones or, teeth being stirred up if there's like a tree uprooted, say in like a storm or something. And there could be,
Yeah.
body parts or not body parts, but bones or teeth, like, unearthed.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember when she said that. It was kind of like, wait a second, what'd you say? There's teeth in the trees? And so, interesting. Really interesting, creepy, but fascinating if it's in fact true. I have
Yeah.
yet to see a tree with teeth,
Yeah, me either.
but
Oh, man. Um, so on our ghost tour, we went to multiple places from homes to like former infirmaries from like the yellow fever era and things like that. But we don't remember all of the specific stories. So the like most notable ones is what we're going to talk about. And the number one is the Benjamin Wilson House, which is also probably more prominently known as 432 Abercorn Street.
yeah, that is what it's known as. I don't think many people actually call it the Benjamin Wilson House. It's known as 432 Abercorn Street. And so if you Google that address, that's what'll come up, which is why we didn't feel bad about putting the actual address in there, because a lot of these places we're going to talk about are homes and people do live there, which makes it kind of awkward when you're on the ghost tour and you're standing in front of somebody's home and you can see them having dinner inside and you're just like taking pictures of their house.
Like trying to catch a ghost in their great room.
Yeah. And we kind of talked about that earlier. I was like, how funny would that be if you moved into a house and you're like, oh, I got this house for a really great deal. And you move your family in and you're sitting down one night watching TV and you look outside your window and you're like, what's this group of people standing out front of our house taking pictures? And then you realize that it's a ghost tour.
Yeah.
And you didn't know. You're like, oh, great.
Dude, I would get into it. I would play into it. I would
offer people to come in from the ghost tour and charge them money.
There you go.
Yeah. I'd be like, oh, yeah, I see ghosts all the time. Even if I don't,
Yeah. No, I'd do something extravagant with like the window and like put like make it not look obvious like it's like LED or anything like that, and put like apparitions in there.
Oh yeah, I'd walk around with a bed sheet and just scare people.
Anyway, so the Benjamin Wilson house, the legend says that there was a little girl that lived in the house, and that there's a school across the street because it's in like Taylor/Calhoun Square. And so the legend says that the little girl was playing with the children, and I don't know if the children were like not of the wealthy class or if they were African American. I'm not sure, but basically the sentiment was that the father did not approve of her playing with those children, and to punish her, he tied her to a chair in the window, pointing her at the schoolyard to watch the kids play, and then left her in the house for days in the summer, Savannah summer, and she died. That's the legend. So they say that you can see her in the window.
Yeah, tragic story. I think he did it multiple times to punish her because she would sneak out and play with the kids and he would catch her. And so he would tie her up in this chair. And then, like you said, one weekend he went away and left her tied to the chair and she ended up dying.
Yeah. I remember something about the story where like where she was sitting also was like there was like a beam of sunlight on her too. So I don't know if that contributed. I mean, probably, but there's no air conditioning back then either. And temperatures in the summer can get well into the hundreds.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also interesting to point out that a lot of these haunted houses that we visited in Savannah are absolutely gorgeous. Like the homes,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
old Victorian houses, and they're just beautiful homes, but they're just there's so much tragedy there that it's like an interesting dichotomy of like beauty and pain, and and it almost seems like the more beautiful the house is, the more haunted it is.
Yeah. And that 432 Abercorn Street is a beautiful
It's
house.
yeah, gorgeous house. But like if you were somebody who was house hunting in Savannah and you're looking for a home and you find this beautiful home, it's like got to know the history of what happened there cuz
Yeah, you would think, and that's another thing of like buying a historical home. You would have to know, I guess, if somebody died there, right? Or is there just like a statute of limitations on that they have to disclose that to you?
yeah, I don't know. I've heard people say that like a realtor has to tell you if somebody died in a home they're selling. I don't know if that's true. Um if we're talking hundreds of years ago, I mean any home that's 100 years old, somebody's died in it at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah, so there's
You
probably
know,
some sort of like stipulation on like a historic home that you don't really have to disclose. But I mean, you could look up and see,
well, for this house for sure. I mean, it's famous.
Yeah.
432 Abercorn. I mean, there's stuff all over the internet about it. It's a pretty famous haunting, and it's a famous home. So,
Yeah, and not just Savannah, but also in Charleston that we learned on some tours too. If you pay attention when you're walking around and you see like porches, like wraparound porches, the ceiling of the porches are actually painted blue.
yeah. And that blue is called haint blue, and it's a common tradition in Savannah and other places down south, and it has roots in the Gullah Geechee culture of the region. And the practice is based on the belief that the color blue repels evil spirits or haints by tricking them into thinking the ceiling is the water or sky. Um, yeah, the superstition behind it is essentially that, ghosts can't cross water. And so by painting the porch ceiling blue, it creates the illusion of water and thus protecting the home. So you'll see that in a lot of southern homes, especially in more haunted areas with history like Savannah. You'll see blue ceilings. And if you don't really know the history behind it or the history of the Gullah Geechee people, you might think it's just a popular color or something.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because I never really would have thought anything of it until, it was brought to our attention. Now it's like, oh, you kind of look up. And I think I found myself even kind of looking in New Orleans to see like, oh, is there any blue, on the ceiling? Which is another interesting thing is if you own a historical home, you can't just like renovate it or paint it however you want. Like they have specific paint colors that actually you have to contact the city and go through like the historical society if you want to modify a historical home. So that's like the trade-off, I guess, of owning a historical home. It's the beauty and the rich history and it's a well-built home that stood the test of time, but because it's a designated historical home, like you can't change certain things without getting permission.
Yeah. And even if you just want to restore a historical home, the city themselves have companies that they contract to come in and you have to restore it to the way it was. You can't change it.
Yeah.
And so that's a way that they keep a lot of these homes historical instead of like modernizing them. Which is kind of crazy because if you buy something, it should be yours. But on the other hand, it's nice that the city tries to preserve that kind of heritage.
Yeah, absolutely. Another notable location on that tour is the Hamilton Turner Inn. And this one I remembered because of the like playful story of the children. So the story was, I think it was a woman. I don't remember her name. She did share that with us on the tour. I don't remember the woman's name, but she would throw these like extravagant parties. She was like a wealthy woman, would throw these parties often and would send her children upstairs during the parties. And the children were like mischievous and they would throw like billiard balls, like pool balls down the stairs and kind of disrupt the party.
Mm-hmm.
And so the story claims that there was a young girl that died after accidentally falling down the stairs while either playing that game or playing another game.
She probably tripped on a pool ball.
Maybe. And so at that Hamilton Turner Inn, guests today report hearing the sounds of pool balls rolling and children's laughter. And so they're attributed to those children. And that's from like a lot of the Savannah like ghost tour websites.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Also pretty famous home. And yeah, it's an inn that you can stay in. And yeah, hear pool balls rolling down the stairs and kids laughing. So sounds like a good old weekend getaway.
We should stay in a place that's like
those places, because I've looked.
They're expensive.
They're so expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just a couple weekends ago when we were in Pawleys Island, I wanted to stay in the Pelican Inn, which we'll touch on in another episode. But man, these it's like, I think people that are interested in the paranormal and people that are like into ghosts and stuff seek these places out, because otherwise they're very nice, like bed and breakfasts and stuff, and cool places to stay. But like, you know, you wonder why they're so expensive. And I think a lot of it is because of the attraction of the history behind them. And so a lot of these places are very expensive to stay in when you could stay down the road in a Holiday Inn for a third of the price. People choose to pay the money to stay in these kind of places because of the history behind it and because of the paranormal stuff that, you know, reportedly goes on in these places.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Because to your point earlier, when we were talking about if we own one of those homes, we would like play along with it. And you were like, I would open the doors and charge people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a market.
Yeah, and there definitely is.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is also the place that I claim I got a picture of a ghost.
Yeah.
May or may not have just been someone walking in front of my phone as I took a long exposure.
And they were see-through.
But it looks like there's a see-through person in like a white button down.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the back of them, but I'm pretty sure it was just somebody in our group.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that picture. It just feels spooky. Even if it's not, you know, a true apparition, it's just a fun picture to pretend.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think to compare ghost tours, I think the ghost tour we went on in New Orleans, which we talked about in episode 3 of the podcast. Yeah, New Orleans is just so chaotic, and they do a good job of getting you off the like really busy areas, like off Bourbon and stuff, to some of the side streets to show you more of the haunted stuff. But there's still just a lot of people. I feel like in Savannah, as busy as Savannah gets too, especially down near River Street, it wasn't as chaotic, and we had more time to there wasn't tons of people walking around, and
it was slower burn. Like it was definitely quieter. And there were some moments I feel like we're in a big group. There's probably, I don't know, 12 of us, 15, something like that. But there's no one else, you know? So when she's telling the story, we're all quiet because we're listening and we can hear her, you know? There were sometimes at the New Orleans one that it was kind of hard to hear if you weren't right up front because...
Yeah. Well, and there's just drunk people stumbling around, and it's, you know, New Orleans is crazy.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, this tour was probably one of my favorite tours. Kat did just a great job.
Yep. Shout out Kat again.
And yeah, I mean, Savannah itself, there's just so many different factors, but overall it was a great weather night. It was kind of a full moon, so it was still pretty lit even on the darkest, you know, alleys. But yeah, that was a really great tour. And we went to we ended up at like Pinky Masters Sports Bar just because Rachel hadn't, like we mentioned, she hadn't gone to the bathroom before. Yeah. So we had to find somewhere immediately. And I remember I took pictures inside the bathroom because there were like giant checks on the wall that had like been written out to like, you know, random people or for random amounts, but it was like on the wall. Yeah. The wallpaper was like checks, like business checks.
Yeah, along with the pictures we'll post of the different haunted houses and different inns and stuff that we visited. We'll also post a picture of that sports bar. Just because the bathrooms were cool.
Yeah, they just had cool bathrooms. Shout out Pinky Master Sports Bar.
Yep. It was like a little hole in the wall place too, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the only place we could find immediately that had a bathroom that you could just kind of go in. I don't think did anybody get a drink or anything?
No,
just use their bathroom. Nope.
Well, actually, I think our tour guide, because we might have asked, like, hey, is there any place? And she was like, yeah, this place over here. So maybe she's got like she
Deal
knows
with
the
them.
owner or something.
Well, that kind of reminds me of after our tour in New Orleans, after the ghost tour, we just happened to go inside of like a little market to get some food or whatever. And our tour guide that was just, giving us our tour, like happened to walk in after us, and she was buying like cat food to take home or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was just funny because it was like, oh, hey, we know you.
You just got off the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Another spooky thing that you can do any time of year, doesn't have to be, Halloween time, is visit the Bonaventure Cemetery.
Mhm.
It's an iconic cemetery in the area because of the, like, again, the live oaks with the Spanish moss hanging down in these like kind of dirt road paths. It's just a very picturesque cemetery. If you're into that, and if you're listening to this episode, you probably are. And they just have a gorgeous, grounds. Lots of large statues and gravestones.
Very old too.
Very old.
Yeah, if you're somebody that likes cemeteries, you're one of them kind of people that's into that kind of stuff. Bonaventure Cemetery is a must go see.
Yeah.
Because it is amazing.
And they have...
This was not on the ghost tour, though, by the way. This is something we did separately.
Yeah, this is something separate. This is not in downtown Savannah. It's not too far.
The cemetery is a little bit outside of town.
Yeah, but still a really great place to visit. And they offer... you can do guided tours or just like a self-guided. So I think we paid... it was very minimal. I don't remember it being too expensive to go in there and kind of walk around by ourselves.
Take photos. Very picturesque, like you said. And I'm sure they do ghost tours there during Halloween at least. But yeah, the tours you take at the cemetery are more history, I guess.
Yeah.
Not necessarily about hauntings. But a lot of really cool information. It's a very historic place and just an absolutely gorgeous cemetery. Even if you're not into cemeteries or the paranormal or scary stuff, it's just a really pretty place.
Yeah. And I mean, going during the day, it's not spooky, it's a nice stroll through the cemetery. Mm-hmm. One statue that we saw there, I don't think I had known about it beforehand, but I did take a picture of it. It's a statue, all white, of a little girl, and it's behind the entire kind of plot has a wrought iron fence around it. And so on the fence, it says Gracie Watson. And it's just this little girl kind of like sitting down. And according to the Bonaventure Historical Society, Gracie was the daughter of a hotel manager. And she was kind of popular with everybody in downtown Savannah because she kind of had a run of the hotel. Think of like Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. If you watch that, like, that's what it reminds me of. Like, people knew her because she, that was like her hotel. She kind of ran around it. And that hotel, I guess, is a Victorian version of the famous Eloise of the Plaza Hotel in New York City. But Gracie actually died of pneumonia 2 days before Easter when she was 6 years old. And her monument is based on a photograph that was given to a new sculptor in town named John Waltz. Mm-hmm. And so at some point after her death, it became popular to leave presents for Gracie at her gravesite, especially around Christmas time. And you'll still see presents left outside of the wrought iron like fence. And they had to put that fence up because there was damage to her nose, and there was like 3 different kind of explanations of what happened. It was either just kind of like weathering, which I guess they call sugaring, when like the statue kind of erodes away. So, and then another one was like students would go and kind of like rub her nose for luck before exams or something like that. We read something like that. And I can't remember what the other one was, but basically they had the nose kind of restructured and fixed, and then they put the fence up to kind of prevent any other vandalism or damage to the statue.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of, we touched on this in our New Orleans episode, but in the St. Louis cemetery, how there's that one statue that is missing a hand, which they never did fix. They just left it that way. But that was from Dennis Hopper in the film Easy Rider. When they were filming in that cemetery, he climbed up on the statue one night drunk and broke the hand off of the statue. So, that kind of stuff happens in cemeteries, especially when you have these really old statues. But yeah, they did a good job of trying to preserve it. And it's one of the most popular sites in the cemetery that a lot of people go see. And like you said, leave gifts and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and we actually wanted to go to the cemetery to see the cemetery, but you wanted to go to see this famous statue that was there from...
Yeah, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, which is a book that was written, which they made into a major motion picture, which they actually filmed in Savannah and in that cemetery. It's a movie that has Kevin Spacey in it, and it's a good film. I never read the book, but yeah, there's a bird girl statue.
Yeah, so the statue is called Bird Girl, and it's a woman, standing there. She's got both of her hands kind of outstretched and like palms up, and there's bird baths in her hand. And so kind of along the same theme of wanting to prevent any vandalism, so that movie and the book made that Bird Girl statue popular. So they actually moved the statue to the Telfair Museum because they were concerned about vandalism and the large number of visitors that the family's plot was receiving. So the family decided to loan the statue to the museum, and it's now on permanent display at the Telfair Academy with an exhibition dedicated to the statue and its connection to the Bonaventure Cemetery.
Yeah. And they had actually moved that statue shortly after the book's release because, like you said, it became very popular. And
because it's on the cover of the book.
It's on the cover of the book and the movie cover, but it became overwhelming. And so they moved it. But what's weird is, like, I had been to Bonaventure many times before this, going back to, I think the first time I went to Savannah was like 2016. And I could have sworn I've seen it. But looking at the dates of when they moved that statue, they moved it in like the 90s.
Oh, wow.
After the book came out. So I guess I hadn't seen it. And I think this time when we went, I was like, oh, we're going to go look for the Bird Girl statue. And that's when we found out that they had moved it. So I thought they had moved it more recently.
Yeah, we asked somebody, remember? I can't remember if it was in the office, because we talked to somebody in the office and they were like, yeah, that was moved like a long time ago. We were like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was like the Mandela effect or something.
That's what I was about to say. Is it like a Mandela thing?
So maybe it was the other statue. Maybe it was Gracie that I had seen.
Yeah, maybe.
And thought it was the Bird Girl statue. I don't know. But they don't look alike. But
or maybe it's just some spooky stuff happening and playing tricks on you.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, there's other movies and stuff that had been filmed in Savannah, like Forrest Gump, for example. That was filmed in Savannah. When he's sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
That was in one of the squares in Savannah. Fact check me on that.
I believe you.
But yeah. And also the movie Magic Mike XXL.
Ooh.
Was filmed at the Savannah Gentlemen's Club.
Oh my.
And they filmed on Tybee. And so, yeah, not that I've seen that movie, but, it was filmed there.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Channing Tatum's rock hard abs have graced the city of Savannah.
Yeah, well, so have I.
So have you, and your rock hard abs. And you peeing in an alley.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
I wonder if
that's
your pee's still
illegal.
There.
Ew.
Yeah, what a story that would have been if we had gotten arrested for public indecency.
Yeah, there wasn't a playground around, so.
Well, not that we know of.
But overall, I mean, again, that ghost tour was top notch. Just walking around Savannah, October was the perfect time.
Yep. It's another one of those cities that's perfect to go to during Halloween or the month of October. We've talked about New Orleans. We've talked about Savannah. Charleston would be another one. a lot of haunted places down here, but Savannah, like we mentioned earlier at the beginning of this podcast, is regarded as the most haunted city in the United States. So if you're somebody that's into haunted things, you're like scary, spooky things, Savannah should definitely be on your bucket list. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's so much to do in Savannah too. Like we touched on a few things. The Riverwalk is great. There's a great food district there. Lots of bars. There's also like year-round Christmas shops down at that like river district. And like chocolate shops. Like just a really fun area and just a lot of history. So you can kind of walk around anywhere in Savannah and experience, the history.
Right. Yeah, we'll definitely, like we said, do a separate episode on travel to Savannah in general. But it was the perfect candidate for a Halloween special episode. So we hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got one more Halloween episode coming up. That'll be next week from when you're hearing this. And do we want to give a little preview or?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So we're going to be going over Haunted Dixie. So it's like areas in like the southern United States. So all encompassing. So we're not going to mention Savannah because we just did a whole episode on it. But we're really excited for that one too.
Yeah. It's going to be just a generalized episode of haunted places in the South.
Yeah. Most of them we've been to.
And that's kind of what sets us apart, I'd like to think, than some other podcasts that go over like haunted stuff or do like, spooky episodes, is we try to always talk about places we've been.
Yeah, and give that like firsthand account and experience.
Because we could talk about the history of a place all day, but I think what I like when I listen to a podcast is hearing people's real experiences traveling to a place and what they experienced while they were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole story behind Temporary Locals. We share the places that we were a temporary local in.
That's right.
Alrighty, guys. Well, that's it for this week. Thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Once again, we're available on Apple Podcasts now. So you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, also at Temporary Locals Podcast. You can find Jared on Instagram at Rover_Stover and on YouTube at Rover Stover. And you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook at mego.goes.global. And once again, if you guys made it this far, we really appreciate you listening. We would super duper appreciate any free support like sharing, liking, commenting, engaging, whatever, leaving a review. Only if it's positive.
That's right. Only if it's a good review or a nice compliment.
Yeah. When we say give us feedback, what we really mean is give us a compliment.
Yeah. Give us good feedback.
Positive.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, with that,
I'm Jared.
And I'm Megan. Thank you for exploring with us.
And remember, be a local anywhere you go.
Bye.
Bye.